it's probably not a great idea to come to the legislature for your health care needs. I am not a doctor, and when I am sick, I go to a doctor or a healthcare provider, not my friends in the legislature. As much as I like all of you, I'm still going to go elsewhere for my healthcare needs. I believe that it's research and science, and not a collection of anecdotes and ad hominems and emotion that we need to be considering this very important issue. I just want to know, I guess, why is it a problem for marijuana to go through the FDA approval process?
Well, obviously, marijuana is a Schedule I drug, so it can't get approved through FDA.
But if we can lift that schedule, why is it a problem for marijuana to go through the process that we have in place for every other drug? We don't chew willow bark for aspirin. We do not chew foxglove for our digitalis. We have natural products that have been made into medications. The active ingredients have been derived from these plants. So I just want to know why.
Let me answer it this way. You and I both voted for right to try legislation. Right to try legislation is by definition going around the FDA approval process, because it is broken. Hemp was approved and is being used right now today in Kentucky, and it is a federal violation. This is not a new thing. This is not novel.
Well, I mean, I've got, I can provide data that shows that every state who has legalized cannabis for either medicinal use or recreational continues to trend up on their opioid overdoses.
Yeah,
and I think Senator Syme the other day, the nausea is so bad from
you don't die from that. You don't die from that. You don't die from that.
You do die from that. But forget the dying from that. The pain, the day-to-day pain people are living through. And that's all we're saying. We're trying to create a very, very tightly drafted bill with law enforcement support, with all of your input, so that we can help people like these that are sitting with us. And we are open to your input and suggestions. Please just read the bill when you get the bill.
What is the cost to the Commonwealth of Kentucky to regulate and enforce these new laws? And what is the cost to the Commonwealth of Kentucky to create a new cannabis commission or whatever it is that we're doing under the DOJ?
We don't have the cost right now. We'll be getting that fiscal note when the bill is done. Our understanding is that it will not be a big moneymaker to Kentucky, but it will pay for itself and then some.
So I just think that this is not only not going to be a revenue stream, I think it will end up costing us a lot more, but we'll see. I wonder if either of you have any concerns with some of the patients who are going off all of their researched medications and relying on something that hasn't been fully tested. And, I spoke with someone yesterday who has AIDS, and he's in his mid-30s, and has gone off all of his medications, which we know now are prolonging lives of patients who are, just didn't live very long with HIV or AIDS historically. So do you have any concerns for patients who are just going off all of their proven medications and going with marijuana?
If you've been on a particular regimen, regardless of what it is, there are pitfalls to stopping suddenly. So I wouldn't want to advise patients to do that. I'm afraid that happens more due to the illegal nature of what's going on. Patients are forced to read the internet and different sources and not consult with physicians or other medical providers. If they had the ability to consult with us, we could guide them through those processes and specifically perhaps tailor the treatment to what their condition would respond best to. If patients were able to come and work honestly with their provider, I think we could avoid those pitfalls and guide them to what works best. And again, as I mentioned earlier, at the end of the day, what is going to result in the fewest potential negative outcomes or side effects. And when we compare THC-based products or CBD oils or any of the marijuana-based products, the side effect profile and negative outcomes pale in comparison to even routine over-the-counter medications like Tylenol or aspirin.
Mr. Chairman, that question was not directed to me, but I must respond because I was involved in that conversation, Representative Moser, and what you've said is a gross misrepresentation of what that man said to us. That man drove 6 hours to talk to us, and he said his physician told him he had AIDS, and he was within a month of his life, a month of dying, and he suggested to him that he might try marijuana. He did,
And now he went off all meds.
That's
yeah.
right, with his doctor. And this man drove 6 hours to speak with you and to speak with me, and to tell you and to tell me that medical marijuana saved his life. And I asked him if he testified, and he said, "No, sir, I'm scared. Because if I testify, I may lose my job." This man drove 6 hours in support of House Bill 136, and he did not say he went off all his medications without his physician's tutelage. He did, or without the physician care. He did not say that.
If I may respond quickly. Yeah. I was simply asking the physicians if they had any concerns about patients who go off all of their medications.
That's a fair question, but the anecdote you used was misrepresented, and I had to correct the record there.
Are there other medications that we should vote on? Dr. Block?
Are there other medications we should vote on?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but I don't understand
Well, I
the
mean,
question.
you know, this is a plant, and it's being called a medication without going through the usual process. I'm just wondering, are there other medications and other treatments that legislators should
well, certainly.
prescribe?
Mr. Chairman, I want to answer that question if I might. The answer is yes. Opioids are a medicine, and 3 years ago we passed a bill that limited opioids in the prescription. We restricted the doctor's practice, and to my knowledge, Representative Moser, you were the sponsor of that bill.